a much heralded defensive end from, I believe, the state of Texas, Logan Thomas. This is a young man that, man, he's got some explosive moves. Watching some video of him. Is Notre Dame going to get a visit from Logan Thomas once again? And where do we stand right now with his recruitment?
Yeah, four-star prospect from Katy, Texas, number 164 overall player, number 13 edge, according to the 2024 On3 industry ranking. Visiting Notre Dame this weekend. So, Darren, it's interesting because March and April are usually the big unofficial visit months for Notre Dame. And then May, the coaching staff is on the road, typically from Monday to Friday. And then by the weekend, I think those guys, remember, they are people, like they need to have their own life. And I think, during the weekend, spend some time with their family, but also, Darren, they're meeting with the players. Like you'll see, some of those coaches and the players like tweet out photos of, just position group meetings, on a Saturday or Sunday. They're hanging out before those coaches hit the road. So May's a total grind. So it's not big for recruits coming on campus, but Logan Thomas, was able to visit Notre Dame this weekend. This will be his second time. He also visited in early March, I believe. So this is a top overall target for the Fighting Irish, and someone who the staff is like, oh, you can come to campus in May. Yes, we will absolutely host you. So yeah, it's a pretty big deal, Darren. And I know we'll talk about defensive line recruiting in general, but if Notre Dame is able to get Logan Thomas, this puts the Irish in a very ideal situation moving forward. You mentioned his pass rush moves. I mean, you saw him, and for folks watching on YouTube or watching his film, played a little bit of inside linebacker. He's coming off the edge. This is just the kind of player that you want. He can do all these different things, the versatility, the length, all those kind of, buzzwords that can be cliche in football, but they're real things and they're important. Notre Dame really values the versatility and especially the length. So everything I gather about Logan Thomas is that he, is a really strong, fit for Notre Dame off the field, and on the field, he looks like he could be a really good get for the Irish as well.
Every football team is looking for more edge rushers. He's from Texas. He's a highly acclaimed player, so I would have to imagine the schools that have offered him are the who's who of college football.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about Big 12 country, I think Texas and Oklahoma are a couple of the big ones. And he's got both schools on his offer list. I know he has Oklahoma, but I believe he has Texas as well. We'll get the crack staff on that. Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Georgia, does have Texas, LSU, USC. Got to throw out Colorado. It's not really a big-time school just yet, but they do have Deion Sanders, so it's interesting. So, yeah, those are a few of his offers. Interestingly enough, Darren, Texas Tech is a school to watch out for here. It's an in-state school that's done a really good job recruiting him. That coaching staff over there for the Red Raiders actually doing a really good job. You hear the Texas Tech linked with a lot of big-time recruits these days. But I think it's a Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Notre Dame battle. I do give the Fighting Irish the edge for Thomas right now. And I think this weekend could be really big for the Irish potentially landing him. Does that take place? I don't know. But again, the visit this weekend, him getting to campus a second time in the spring from the Houston, Texas area, that's a pretty big deal.
Well, last year the Irish thought they had Keon Keeley. He decommits. And, we were so deep into the process, Mike. It's so hard to get another high-level player to flip to you. So this seems like it's an important cycle, and Irish off to a good start with Logan Thomas at this particular time. So let's expand the defensive line conversation. Mm-hmm. What is the status right now of defensive line recruiting for Marcus Freeman's staff?
It's pretty interesting because there's a lot of guys on the board. They've offered many defensive linemen, but I think if you get Logan Thomas, Darren, and I can't speak for the Notre Dame staff here. This is kind of just Mike Singer reading between the lines.
Okay.
If they get Logan Thomas, that's 4 defensive linemen committed. And we'll go through those names in a minute. It's like, how many more? I mean, you're not taking 6 defensive linemen. At least I don't think so. So that it kind of is like, you get Thomas, you're in a really good spot. Like, you've hit on these players that you really wanted. Makes your life a little bit easier for Al Washington and co. You just got to, kind of focus on the guys you have committed. So And looking at Notre Dame's commitment so far on the defensive line in 2024, you have Bryce Young, who I swear was just like 6'4", 215 pounds. And then you check around, oh, he's 6'6", 245 as of January when he visited Notre Dame, a source told me. 6'6", 245 for Bryant Young's kid. Pretty big deal. He committed to Notre Dame April 29th. When I interviewed him not too long ago about his commitment, he was like, I point blank asked him, I was like, you always know it was going to be Notre Dame? And he says, honestly, no, I didn't always know. Like I thought it for a while there was might have been a different school. Like he really liked Michigan. He took a visit to Stanford. He just kept picking up offers left and right. But Young did commit to Notre Dame April 29th. He told the staff a week before at the Blue Gold game, but announced it a week later. Owen Wafel is just a tank, listed at 6'2", 267. Darren, I might need to look into that one and see if that's a very outdated listing as well. Because every time you see pictures of him standing next to some of his future teammates, Wafel's the biggest. Like the dude is just massive. So that's an interior defense lineman who committed to Notre Dame way back May 16th, 2022. Exactly a year ago today. So how about that? I'm going to fire out a tweet now as soon as we're done recording this, and I'm going to say, hey, Owen Wafel's 1-year commitment anniversary. How about that? And then you got Cole Mullins, a commitment for Notre Dame that kind of came out of the blue. He visited in April. This is an edge rusher. He's listed at 6'4", 240 pounds. I know my coworker Tim Hyde believes that he could bulk up to a strong side defensive end, same as Bryce Young, but you just kind of want these long edge rushers, kind of get them in and figure it out later. Committed to Notre Dame over Wake and Duke, but also had offers, from USC, Pitt, Miami, North Carolina. So had some big time offers as well. So that's the 3-man defensive line class. Again, if you get Young Thomas committed, then it's kind of like you're going after probably one more guy, and I would assume it would be Justin Scott, the 5-star interior defensive lineman from Chicago St. Ignatius. That would be, if they get Scott, Thomas, Young, Wafel, and Mullins, I mean, that's got to be up there for an A+, right? I mean, it's not like 5 stars. That's a little unrealistic. But if you're talking about like a realistic expectation of what Notre Dame could get in a defensive line class, that's it. I mean, that would be crazy. And then they still have a few other targets, Darren. I want to quickly mention Elijah Rushing is supposed to be coming. So Notre Dame's not just putting all their eggs in these baskets, right? I mean, they're going to take the ones, like if Logan Thomas wants in, they're going to take them. But I think Elijah Rushing, a 5-star defensive end who's visiting in June, I think you take Elijah Rushing for sure.
Yeah.
Probably a long shot. This guy is literally a Keon Keeley clone. Talking about him a minute ago. You take him. Malachi Williams would be an interesting one, 6'3", 210 pounds, edge rusher who Notre Dame really likes. Jalen Harvey, Notre Dame's in the mix with. He's another edge from Maryland. Benedict Uma's more of an interior guy, I believe. I think Notre Dame would love to have him. TJ Lindsey, an interior guy from Arkansas. Sean Saviano's an interior guy from Clearwater, Florida. Or goes to school in Clearwater. I believe he's originally from Canada, but I could be wrong there. So Notre Dame has all of these guys on the board, Darren, and it's a good thing to have. Like if you'd rather, potentially have to turn players away than, have all your guys turn you away, if that makes sense. So it can kind of be tricky to go through the defensive line board. It's like, man, they have so many guys. How are they going to manage this? Of course, it always works itself out, but Notre Dame has definitely put itself in a situation where if they don't land a Logan Thomas, for example, they have many other options, and that's where you want to be.